Larry, I've been trying to touch base again with a Ukrainian pastor I introduced our audience to when the war first broke out. But because of those rocket attacks, we just couldn't communicate. But finally, he drove to a place where he could get a signal out on a partially charged iPhone. All because he wants the world to know the Ukrainian people still desperately need help.
We first met Oleg Magdvich back in the spring. The pastor became a soldier when Putin's army stormed into his homeland.
There's nothing romantic in war. It's only pain and death and destruction.
Not long into the war, Oleg was wounded in his arm and leg.
When you have to be ready to die any moment, because it can happen any moment, it changes the way you live every minute of your life. It changes the way you look at God, look at people around you, look at yourself.
It's that kind of determination on the part of the Ukrainian people that has, for the most part, gotten the best of the Russian army. But despite many victories, times are hard. The area where Oleg is now has been in the dark since Russian rocket attacks last week. A charged cell phone is a luxury. We can't see him well this time. Still, Oleg wants to get Ukraine's message out to the world.
For me, there is no question we're going to win this war, because now 8 months down the road, we see that we can fight. It's only a matter of time. But for me, the big concern and the big question is how many more guys are we going to lose?
Villages being just ravaged and their people taken to Russia and they don't know where they are, or they're being killed in mass graves. And it's endless and relentless and so cruel. It's just something I never dreamed we would see in our lifetime.
Lexington businesswoman Kathy Stafford has gotten to know Oleg and his wife over the last decade or so during mission trips. When the war started, she displayed the Ukrainian flag at her office and vows not to take it down until there's peace.
Some of them feel just so forgotten. And I can imagine that they will, with the pleas and the cries that they've made for help. And just to know that someone's praying. I send scripture, I video record prayers to Oleg and his wife.
Knowing that someone remembers about you and cares enough to pray about you, it helps a lot. It helps. It helps.
When I asked what is needed most from the rest of the world, Oleg again talked about Europe and the United States imposing a no-fly zone over Ukraine. That's something the U.S. and NATO, though, have not been willing to do, since it would likely start a wider war. Oleg argues that if Ukraine falls to the Russians, other European countries could be next.